Before I state the main result, I will first give an example of a mechanism that's ternary in every stage. So in the last period, we have seen that there are only 6 possible ones. So I'll use one of these 6. But in the second to last periods, some mechanism like this would be implementable. So the dynamic implementability conditions require the continuation values to be equal to the threshold whenever there is a threshold. So the ones with stars are the required continuation values. The ones without a star are any values possible, so I picked the one that's convenient. And inside each region, I specify the continuation value in that region. So one way to implement this is using these mechanisms in period T, so in the last period. So basically, in the second last period, if one person veto and the other person recommends someone, then in the next period, the person who recommends becomes the dictator. And if those are not the case, then they would continue to use the unanimity rule. So one possible explanation is that we do not want people to veto too much. So if you veto, especially you veto something that the other person really loves, then you lose the veto power in next period. So in the third to last period, more things become available in the second to last period. So in the last period, only the 6 binary ones are possible. But in the second to last period, there are a lot of other ternary mechanisms. So in particular, the ones that look like these are possible. So if one person veto and the other person recommends, we still use the dictatorship. But if one person veto and the other person just approves, then that person who vetoes would lose some veto power in the next period, but not all of them. So we will have another ternary mechanism that's not dictatorship, but very close to dictatorship in the second to last period. So if both of them veto, then they can continue with the unanimity rule as before. So the same thing can happen for the other agent. So that would be an example such that in every period we use a ternary mechanism, and in the next section I will show that any implementable mechanism are payoff equivalent to some randomization among these ones that are completely ternary.